Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, August 26th. I'm Makia Turner.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Glad to have you with us tonight. Well, an elderly man is dead tonight after a car crash in Silver Spring. Police say the man had a medical emergency causing him to lose control of his vehicle and drive into oncoming traffic. The incident happened about 10 this morning on New Hampshire Avenue at Piney Branch Road. The victim's SUV veered off of the road and hit a guardrail. Meantime, police tell us that a 25-year-old man died last night after crashing his motorcycle in Temple Hills. That incident happened about 10:30 p.m. on Old Branch Avenue and Allentown Way.
Almost 300 inmates were convicted before 1980, could soon be granted new trials. It's all because of a ruling by the Maryland Court of Appeals last year. Merle Unger shot and killed a man in 1975 for a crime which he was convicted and sent to jail. But the state's highest court recently ruled that the directions given to the jury violated Unger's right to a fair trial, and so he was granted a new one. As a result, the court's decision, 3 cases will have hearings at the Prince George's Courthouse tomorrow to determine whether those defendants will be granted new trials. You've probably heard lots of talk about the Affordable Care Act, but do you really understand it and know how it will affect you? Well, U.S. Senator Ben Cardin wants to make sure that Marylanders are clear. He has been hosting roundtable discussions with doctors and other healthcare workers, and today he was at Holy Cross Hospital in Silver Spring. Cardin says it's important that the workers on the front line are ready to help patients understand changes that will be implemented as a result of the Affordable Care Act.
But we know that this year, particularly, we've seen a tremendous improvement over the overall cost of health care. We've helped small businesses make health care affordable by providing credits for them. More small businesses are now offering health care plans to their employees. So, Kevin, the first thing we want to get out there is the facts. What's in the bill, what it does, and people can identify with it.
Enrollment for the insurance coverage begins October 1st.
Congresswoman Donna is continuing her efforts to secure a living wage for working people by holding a town hall meeting. The event will have guest speakers and a panel discussion highlighting the need, impact, and strategy for raising the federal minimum wage. Congresswoman Edwards is a co-sponsor of the Fair Minimum Wage Act of 2013, which would increase the minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10 an hour. This would happen in 3 phases, after which automatic adjustments would kick in to keep pace with the rising cost of living. The town hall takes place tonight from 6:30 to 8 at the Southern Regional Technology and Recreation Complex. That's located on Bach Road in Fort Washington.
Well, tens of thousands descended on the nation's capital this weekend to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. I was a part of that crowd on the Mall Saturday and asked some of the marchers how far they think the nation has come since 1963.
Then the reflecting pool was open. People were as full as they are now. There were just as many people.
Albertina Lane describes the first March on Washington that happened 50 years ago.
That the podium was filled with all of our great speakers.
It was a time when Lane and at least 200,000 other activists marched for jobs and freedom. Lane vividly recalls Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech that capped the historic event.
It was momentous. It was unbelievable. He stood there and he just spoke, and it just, the emotion, and we were filled with so much pride.
It's good to see how far we've come and the more relaxed atmosphere of things today.
Joan Mulholland was another marcher who's no stranger to rallies and activism. At the age of 19, she left Duke University to join the Freedom Riders and later took part in a famous sit-in at a lunch counter in Jackson, Mississippi.
I was pushed around, had stuff dumped on me, but white women were the safest of any. The chauvinist, violent segregationists were least likely to attack us, but verbally, I was called every name in the book and some new ones.
Lane and Mulholland agree that progress has been made over the last 50 years, but say more needs to be done.
We're getting there. There's a lot more work to be done. As you can very well see what happened with Trayvon Martin. Jordan Davis. We need to open up more access for our people, all people.
Ricardo Campos, a member of Casa de Maryland, joined the rally to push for immigration reform amid other issues.
We're still seeing oppression. We're still seeing cases like Trayvon Marks and many other cases where immigrants, where African Americans are being deprived from their opportunities. And, this just reminds us how important it is to keep fighting and keep mobilizing.
Chevelle Foster says the fight for employment opportunities is ongoing as well.
I think jobs are still very important in our community. When you hear sort of the jobless numbers and certainly how it impacts our youth and those that are graduating from colleges, that's still very important. But I think that that's still a part of it. And certainly whenever there's anyone that's not free or cannot sort of live a life where they are free from any sort of injustices, there still is a lack of freedom there.
Several events will take place through Wednesday, like a free presentation about the historic March on Washington, civil rights memorabilia from the National Museum of African American History and Culture will also be on display at the session. That event will take place tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library, located at 901 G Street in Northwest D.C. A free jazz concert will also take place at the same location around noon on Wednesday. A second March for Jobs and Justice will kick off at 8 a.m. at 600 New Jersey Avenue in Northwest. The rally will end at the National Mall, where President Barack Obama will deliver a speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. That will take place Wednesday in honor of the actual day that Dr. Martin Luther King delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech.